said she had a dickens of a time getting a hold of anybody from the Métis, because they don't give you a name and a phone number or something, just a general email. A hardest time getting a hold of them. Then when she finally got a hold of them, they said they had no interest, which I was interested to hear in spite of their protest. Remember that they were setting up shop all around this whole area? And that was one of the concerns, because they have no land base. The bona fide, the Métis, the Red River Settlement, of course they do, but they're stepping aside. They don't recognize this Ontario Métis group who sort of just established themselves and said, I think therefore I am basis. Anyhow, there was like round tables on what everyone's experiences are, and it seems everybody's sharing the same issues. That is, they will post and repost for planners, but don't get anyone. They got one, the guy made us laugh, he got one from a planner, but they're like a party planner. Anyways, all of those sorts of things, and I think he was quite talkative, that fellow from Golden County, Matt, I think his name was. I think it was him. One of the issues, it sounds like they all have a certain deadline. Remember how the push in the province is a whole housing? Big push for housing, and it sounds like they all have targets or goals they have to identify in the land where it would go. And I think it was that Matt fellow said like they could meet their part of their target, and they could identify the land. He said their big issue though is infrastructure. They don't have the infrastructure to support all this housing, and when they're looking at, like, the budget won't support it. So there's common threads that we all suffer here, of course, and you know how expensive infrastructure is. Another, I'll try to make this a little shorter, but another big concern with all of them was the Ford government's Get It Done Act. That 2024, remember that was Ford's campaign slogan, Get It Done? And that was a huge concern to them, and it's Bill 162, which is an omnibus bill. Governments from time to time will have an omnibus bill. It's a real hurry up thing, and they throw everything but the kitchen sink in there, including, remember the thing about not pick your driver's license, all sorts of things. But the big thing gets painted as like the modernization of environmental modernization. But the big concern with everyone was, you know how you have to have a environmental site assessment before you do major infrastructure projects? This bill, if it goes through, will really shorten the time frame allowed for the environmental site assessment. So of course that has a big impact on us here as well in our CAP team. And further to that, for these infrastructure projects, if you can't meet the shortened deadline for the ESA, environmental site assessments, then you're not even required to have it. So that was causing a lot of dismay. And they were all getting, I think the period, you know how they have these standing committees and you can voice your concerns or whatever, your comments, recommendations. I think it went from February 25th to March 21st, which is looming. And then Helen and I spoke after with, what's that young guy's name? Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan Gee and Phil. And he said that Lands Research would be putting something together and would come to council, because that's right upon us. And if you recall, remember the whole green belt? A few governments ago, there was a green belt prescribed for Ontario. What that is essentially is a zoning. It's zoning. It's all the steps taken for the whole, trying to address the whole climate change. And you know how important the green areas are? Well, with this Get It Done push, remember Ford and his government opened up a lot of parcels within the green belt. Because of the huge protests just across the board of him doing that, they had to retract that, and a couple of his senior officials ended up resigning. anyways, it's a very serious thing, and it's very important, and hopefully we get something that we can review soon and have this addressed and to that standing committee, because it also impact us and, well, all the communities, if we're looking towards the environment, and just not good news. But I'll just end it there, but that's how they things they discuss in their quarterly meetings. The next one is in June. I don't know if Helen, we agreed, I said, Helen, I'll do this report, you do the next one, because we were both there. I said, it makes sense, we both do the same thing.
Is there anything, Helen, do you want to add?
Yeah, I thought it was really good meeting, it was really interesting. They kind of, these planners, they kind of do something similar to the cat team in a way. But I was sitting there thinking, we need to do all this, tick boxes off whenever we see what development, this, and this, and I don't know if the cat team does that, but it just sounded to me like the cat team was kind of similar to these planners, only they're not called planners when it comes to development, like projects. So I don't know if we should be having ourselves a planning person or department or something, but anyway. It kind of ties in with what the CAP's doing, but they're not really doing everything that these people are doing. But it's interesting, I found it very interesting to sit and listen to all they have to go through. And I did ask if they tell all the developers they have to consult with Six Nations, and they said they do tell them that. You know, I guess that's their obligation, right, just to tell them they can't do it. But it was good.
Is there any questions or comments? Go ahead, Greg.
All right, yeah, that sounds like an interesting meeting. The thing is that with respect to the Métis I just had a couple little questions. One is, with respect to the Métis, was there any discussion to remove them from the list? The other thing too is, with the Bill 162, the Get It Done Act, of course, there's incentives to municipalities to, if they meet certain housing targets, they get actual monetary rewards in terms of that. Like for example, Brantford with their housing, they met their mark, so they got like $3 extra million. The second question is just where in the process are First Nations consulted? Are they consulted right at the beginning, or is it during the process as it moves along? Like that, that would be my question.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Yeah, before the shovel hits the dirt, the consultation process is supposed to begin, and they negotiate whatever the accommodations are. And I don't know, I'd asked here, but it doesn't sound like they do yet anyway, at least capacity building, because that would be part of it. So that, and the idea being, before shovel hits the ground, they arrange whatever accommodation is going to be made, and it's subject to, for example, then the CAP team will have what they call field monitors go out. There's phases, like for the construction advancement, there's 3 phases, and right even before phase 1 begins, again, they have the talks, and with phase 1, it's these monitors go to the sites and they keep an eye on whatever's going on in case there are any fragments of pottery or anything else that would indicate an Indigenous settlement there, because those rules are very strict, because if they find something, they do the sifting, like it has to stop till they check that particular area.
So are we consulted during the concept phase, like before, like to me, when just before the shovel hits the ground, but there's been a lot of other planning prior to that? Is there any process that tells them that when they have an idea or a concept, should that be the first time they go to the First Nations for consultation?
If you recall, this, I call it a murky business, the duty to consult free and prior what is it?
Free,
Free,
prior,
prior, and
informed
informed
consent.
consent was from the Supreme Court. And the duty fell actually on the crowns, that is the federal and provincial crowns. In Ontario, for example, they delegated that responsibility to the municipalities on their behalf, to Milan, delegated to them. So the municipalities in turn have carried that responsibility. From what I understand of it, when they, remember this was with all those planners, developing planners that we met with, it seems they have an official plan they have to make and submit, and they've got, for example, again, I think it was Brant County, they've got theirs done and it's been sent in, but they haven't had a response to it. And in their plan, they had like about a 5 or 7 page acknowledgement of Six Nations. And it sounds like these plans, as far as I can tell, are made available. But, so there's the general plan, so that's when you talk about like the concept, what do you got going? Because they would have zoning and areas marked off for housing development, whatever it is according to their zone. But I do believe part of our problem is our capacity. There's just a little wee team down there at the CAP office, so I think that would be a major challenge for them to be able to process, and that's just an example, Grant County, Brantford, and all the other surrounding areas.
Helen?
Yeah, well, the way I understood it, when I asked them if they tell the developers they have to consult with Six Nations, that's when to me it sounded like when a developer has in their application for development, because they have to fill out an application. It's a big rigmarole stuff. That's when they tell them that they have to consult with Six Nations. If it's in the Haldeman Charter or whatever. But I think they just tell them, the developer, and if the developer just, I guess, it's up to the developer if he wants to do that. But they are told prior to the process of shoveling the ground, I guess, that they have to, that they should be consulting with Six Nations. But like Cynthia said, they don't even know nothing about who we are or anything. Probably sitting there saying, "Who the heck is Six Nations? They're going to consult with them for." And I don't know if these planners go to any length, explaining the process or explaining who Six Nations is or anything like that. It sounds to me like they just tell them, which is what they're required to do. And it's up to the developer to carry it from there. That's my understanding.
Amos?
Well, I think if we keep saying and tossing around this idea of sovereignty, I think we need to exercise our sovereignty. And we gotta tell all the municipalities that this is the business going forward. Under your signature, chief, or whatever, and then set up an office that just does that, and any funds that come in, grants and pays for that office. Even with legal counsel. Because if not, we can take them to court if they don't abide by the rules of the Supreme Court. Right? And we should also, and I said this to, we're having that meeting next Tuesday night, right? With CAP and the group. I suggested on the side there, on the side bar, was we should include, if not this time, all the presidents of the chambers of commerce along the Brenda River. Because they're the ones where all the development corporations and companies had membership. If they want to be a good standing, have good standing within that municipality, they'll be part of the Chamber of Commerce. They can do our grunt work. And then notify any developers that you better remember, you gotta catch it and get a hold of Grand River. Can't you? Isn't that right? Yeah, that's what I think. If we're talking sovereignty, are we talking sovereignty, or are we just pussyfooting around sovereignty. Donnie.
I think it's great idea, and you're right, that's the goal. Gail, then Greg.
I'm just saying, that's, Amos's point there, that's what CAP is doing. CAP is going to have the meeting was planned for on the 19th or 26th to educate municipalities, so I think Amos, that's part of Long Beach Road is with their CAP team is to do that, so that they're informed. Thanks.
But they got political support to do it, so that's what I'm saying, we gotta get behind them.
And this meeting's going.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, both the Dale and Amos's point, sure. A lot of times, there's a difference between being told and being made. And being made will come from the political push that we put forward, so, yeah, I'm in agreement, I like the tone of the discussion, so, yeah, it'd be good to be a little bit more forceful in terms of that spread of knowledge and actually a requirement, actually. It's more or less a requirement than anything.
Amos, then Cynthia.
That's why I said on our letterhead, we should we say duty to consult and accommodate, in quotes. Or for free, prior, informed consent, in quotes. That's not me, I'm marching on this.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Yeah, at that meeting that we were discussing, that Helen and I went to, for those directors of development, we noted to them, because when Phil was explaining everything, and that there was a special meeting being hosted by the Lands Resources on March 19th at the gathering place from 5 till 8, and they were very interested in that, because they said they'd make sure their internal whoever, because remember it was the mayor and whoever they want to bring to that, they would make sure they were aware. But also we have to our little committee there, what is it called? Rights, Lands and Resources. There are 2 draft policies that will be coming forward shortly. One is an environmental levy, and its companion piece is the consultation and accommodation policy. So they gave us that at our last meeting to review. So I don't quite know how they do it. They asked us to give our input on whatever. And so I don't know then if it, based on that, it comes forward to council, or then we have our next meeting on the 28th. So I don't know if it goes back there first for discussion. And then here, again, I'm not sure how they do it, but.
Yeah, it would come back to your, that's good news, that would come back to your committee, and then for you guys to look over and then bring to full council. Okay, can I have a mover to accept Cynthia and Helen's report, information? Moved by Audrey. Second by Amos. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Okay. Community safety, I just have one. It's just a reminder, I guess, with the nice weather, it's getting nicer out. Let's look out for each other, especially for the children and the youth. And a friendly reminder to slow down on the roads, because it is getting nice and people are walking. So safety first, and let's keep our community safe and sound. So that's my community safety update. Then we'll go down to the chief's update. My first one is meeting with Brantford Mayor Davis on February 23rd. We discussed the needs to make sure Six Nations can make use of the lands in Brantford area, that we own our own benefit the community without paying taxes. And we also discussed outstanding amounts that Brantford owes Six Nations for municipal infrastructure on Six Nations lands. Meeting with Ontario Minister of Indigenous Affairs, Greg Bird. Again, that was unexpectedly, that was February 23rd. With the minister, we showed him, he came here, and then we showed him the tiny homes that Six Nations Economic Development are doing. He was very impressed with those. Also, on February 23rd, it was a we had a visit from OMSK school, their grade 6 class. They came in and we did a mock council, and it was fun. They sat around your tables and we discussed playgrounds, the roads. These were all their questions, how to, what they could do differently to help the community be better. So that was fun. And then we gave them a pizza and wing party after. So those are our future leaders, and they enjoyed the day. So it was nice for them to come and experience that. Chiefs of Ontario Leadership Advocacy Council meeting with the Premier and other ministers. That was on February 26th. We met on the Métis issues. The Premier is in agreement to write a letter to the federal government requesting a halt to advancing Bill C-53. This is important, and it will help to make the case that recognizing false Métis claims threatens First Nations rights. The Premier recently said that Ontario has never had a Premier as supportive of First Nations as him, and for sure I plan to hold him accountable to that statement and his standards. Also a meeting with the Ministry of Infrastructure. My office has been working along with Mayor of Haldimand County and the Mayor of Norfolk County to obtain, we obtained a meeting with the infrastructure on February 26th. Regarding the line on Highway 6, we joined virtually to discuss the difficulties of obtaining funding for water infrastructure within 6 nations of the Grand River, the County of Haldimand, and the County of Norfolk, and understand the possibilities in a joint water infrastructure project. And the Minister, Surma, informed us that she will take our information back and let us know if there's any way that we can get funding. Update from the Transport Canada on the Peace Bridge. We had to contact them. We received a response. The Peace Bridge does accept cash. There is a help button at each kiosk where anyone can request assistance from an attendant who will walk to the lane and accept the cash payment. There are debit machines in addition to credit machines available for the cashier's payment. So again, they do, you can give them cash. The 16th annual Chamber of Commerce MPP breakfast. We're a guest there. This was well attended event sponsored part by Six Nations Polytechnic, Conestoga College, and Wilfrid Laurier University. And MP Larry Brock and MPP Will Goma addressed concerns both from an individual and business perspective. Indian Day School case, the publications that are out is major news outlets are beginning to report on the Indian Day School appeal heard by the Supreme Court of Canada in February. And then just the article, Day School Settlement has paid out $5.7 billion in claims. A Supreme Court petition says survivors were shortchanged. So far, 148,733 claims have been paid, totaling $5.7 billion according to Crown Indigenous Relations. So again, I don't think that's enough. Go ahead, Amos.
It was just reported on CBC this morning that the Green Party and the NDP are going to government, hasn't listed it up again. So it was just reported this morning, so that's on the CBC. And on the CBC last Thursday, I believe, they mentioned Six Nations of Grand River's appeal. So that was good news too. So it's on CBC on Current, if you want to listen to it. It mentions the court case going to the Supreme Court as well.
Great, thank you for that. Welcome remarks at the Grant Eco Conference. I was invited there for the 10th annual at Grant Rod and Gun Club. And it did welcoming remarks. So again, these ones here, donation from Otto Hand Eden. These books here We received 20 of them, and it's in regards to, let me see, including specific mention of Captain Grant and the Montours. So again, I'll probably give some copies to the library, but also if you're interested to check it out, please come to my office. Assisting with community with the water settlement applications. Again, it was March 7th at 11:59. That was the last one to be submitted. Thank you to our staff and their tireless efforts in assisting with so many water applications. Also, heartfelt thank you to the community for your patience and understanding throughout this process. And the last one here, meeting with various community members. I've engaged in numerous meetings, phone calls, reaching out to me, but also I'm grateful for the information shared and giving them the answers that I could. And I'd like to assure you my availability for further discussion. My door is always open. That is it for my, go ahead Amos, then Helen.
I signed one of those, I don't know what you call it, to go into the water.
Yep.
Thinking about it after, I was wondering whether any other Canadian citizen would have to have the consummate validate in their community that they were from that community. That's a double standard, it's racist almost. I don't know why we have to validate when our own people have Asian majority status, that they should be able to apply themselves without having us to validate them. That is so racist. Every other Canadian citizen doesn't have to do that. Go to their local consulate and validate a petition or whatever they're applying for. I just want to bring that up. I think that's so racist.
I totally agree, and I'm getting into that. I have Helen and Elena.
Oh, I was just gonna say that you elaborate more on the meeting with Mayor Davis, because I wasn't quite clear what you said they were talking about land. I wasn't quite clear.
Just again about West Street, the taxes that we shouldn't be having to pay for them, and trying to, the trilateral meetings again with us, Grant County and the city of Grant. Because there is a lot of infrastructure that is going up in Brantford, and we're not getting anything for it. So, just a discussion around those, and especially the West Street. Go ahead, Elena.
I just wanted to bring up, I spoke with many people, as I'm sure all of you did over the last week, about the water applications. And we had days where health staff, and I know that there were counselors maybe that attended. I know Helen's hand might have been falling off from signing today. But there were reports of community members being frustrated and taking those frustrations out on employees. And I would just, if we're live, like to remind the community that these individuals are from here and they work for you, and they're just trying to help. So please don't take your frustrations out. Thank you.
And again, well said, and that's for sure. We are trying to have set dates and try our best to keep everyone happy and satisfied. Anything else? If not, I have a mover to accept my report as information. Moved by Greg, seconder. Second by Elena. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Seen none? Carried. Go ahead, Elena.
I also just wanted to say for the counselor report, so everybody knows that I was absent I was on Zoom, Monday and Tuesday. That was the COA, Canada-Ontario Agreement annual Great Lakes meeting, and that happened in Ongegon. And the report is not here because for the rest of the week I was kind of taking bereavement days, but that report will come soon.
Thank you, and sorry to hear. And a motion to adjourn. Oh, we got Melba. Melba, we we have one. Go ahead, Melba.
No, I didn't have one, I just meant to approve the agenda, sorry.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Amos, seconder, seconded by Greg. All in favor? Any opposed? See none, carried. Thank you for coming today. Have a great day for Monday.